look at this apple, you'll notice all the different colors there. There's a beautiful wine, like a wine burgundy red for the core shadow, which is down here. There's reflected light. There is this brilliant red orange up here. There are streaks of chartreuse, chartreuse is a yellow green, okay? And as well as yellow and this beautiful scarlet down here. Very, very beautiful red color. And also the shadow is not black. The shadow is a brown red color. So the shadow is going to also be influenced by the color of the object. Keep that in mind. You're going to have to do a little problem solving depending on your fruit, what your fruit looks like. The most challenging thing for me is going to be, how am I going to draw these little light colored dots that are all over my apple? They look like almost like little pores. How am I going to keep my really, really harsh, glaring highlight on there? I want this to also be like a problem solving piece too. I want you to figure out how to do little light areas like that that seem to be floating on top of a darker color. And I will use an H pencil, and I want to draw it really big. I want to draw it really beautiful, bold, luscious. It's going to be this luscious thing. And so if most people, when they draw fruit, they don't draw fruit looking all like dried up and puckered and wrinkly and decrepit. They want to show like it looking vibrant and alive. So I'm going to first sketch really, really lightly. This part of the apple is overlapping, and I try to show the outside as well as the inside of the apple, and also a slice. So I'm just doing a real light sketch you could barely see, but I don't want to start drawing my so-called good lines, because what if I don't like them, or what if I drew them wrong? So I'm not committing to that. I'm just drawing real rough sketch lines right now, like that. And it goes down to about, there is a shadow, so we should draw the shadow. Shadow kind of ends right here and hits this little slice of the apple, just like right over here. And then the shadow for the slice of the apple is shaped kind of like a little bit rounder, like a rounder square right here, like a bottom of a square shape item. And then it just kind of comes out right here. A little rounder up there, like the top of a heart. Okay, is there shadow from this apple? Yes, there's one about halfway down. There is the beginning of this part of the apple shadow, and it intersects this one right around here. Something like that. In reality, I feel like that shadow should be bigger. It looks a little small. So then I have to kind of figure out, like, what am I doing wrong here? Why is that not looking right? Should I make this apple a little smaller? Maybe I need to make that apple a little smaller, just a tad smaller, and push that line over a little bit more. But then if I do that, then I have to make this part of the apple a little bit bigger. But I think I will. All right, here we go. So I did a drawing of the apple, and as you can see, that drawing takes up probably 50% of the space of the paper. I want it to be the main focus of my piece. I have to strategize. I can't just go right into it. So what I have to do is work from light to dark, okay? Always work from light to dark. Once you start adding a dark color, and you try to put a light color over it, it's not gonna look right. The light color is gonna always mix with your dark color, or your light color will not show up at all. First, shade in color for the flesh of the apple. Okay, the flesh of the apple is, it's kind of a, it's not really, there is some yellow in it, so I'm going to get some yellow. I'm also going to get a little bit of yellow ochre, because I always love yellow ochre. It's a very natural looking yellow. So I'm going to get a couple different yellows. This is my box doesn't even have, see, that's the thing about the Prismacolor pencils. This doesn't even have a name to differentiate, because a name sticks kind of in your head, not a number. I'm going to get a little white. Why white? Why white? Because when you're using the white, you're applying the actual colored pencil medium on there, and it will blend a certain way, and it's different from just using the bare naked paper when you're trying to make a picture, make a color lighter. So it's like using white paint almost. It's a little bit more translucent though. All right, so I got these colors. I don't want to get too dark, but I just got all my yellows out, okay? Take my eraser, and I want to lighten it up a little bit, my drawing. Why am I lightening it up a little bit? Because I don't want my pencil to start to dirty the colors of my colored pencil. So the easiest way to do that is to just wipe your drawing with the kneaded eraser. Okay? And then I'm going to take a little bit of white and just put some white on there. It's also good to have a piece of scrap paper in case your colored pencils get dirty, and to just kind of clean them off. I'm just putting a little bit of white down in just the flesh of the apple, the yellow part, okay? So you don't really see anything that's going on because it's white. But believe me, there is white on there, okay? Over here also, on the cut inside flesh of the apple, I'm just going to put a little bit of white colored pencil like this, okay? Okay. Now I'm going to take this yellow, and I don't know, I feel like that might give my apple flesh a little sickly appearance because it's a yellow green, like a green yellow, and I'm not too crazy about that. I see another yellow that seems to be more of a true yellow. Okay, so I think I'm going to just put that very lightly, just ever so lightly, and mix that in with my white, and then just go back and forth into layers and just alternate that with my white. That's how I would approach doing the flesh of the apple. There are other color influences, like down here, I can use some of that yellow ochre, which is kind of a yellow, like a yellow brown kind of earthy color. And yellow ochre is literally a clay or a mineral clay that comes out of the ground, and it's colored like that. That's where we get that pigment. So, ooh, I think I like that. So the white allowed me to kind of get this kind of creamy yellow, and I think the color would go on too dark and intense if I didn't lay that white colored pencil down first to mix with my yellow. Okay, so it's kind of creating a little bit of a softer pastel color, because R2, you know from color theory that if you mix white with a color, it creates a soft pastel version of that color, and that's why I laid down the white first. Over here, there's a lot more shading on this wedge of an apple because of the angle and the way that it's capturing the light. And also there's this piece of apple casting a little bit of, it's overhanging this apple a little bit. So it's casting a little bit more of a shadow on there. So we need to make that a little darker right here in this area. That's right underneath this slice of the apple. So just little observations like this, little observations. So we're going to call this a study. So we'll call this a study of fruit for the art ones. And for the art twos, for the art one, it's going to be study of crinkled paper. It's not a full-blown still life, and we're still kind of working toward that. So I put the yellow on, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, clean that off. I see some smudgy, sooty kind of areas on my white colored pencil. Now I'm just wondering, I was just talking about review for Amazon Basics colored pencils. Yes, Amazon is making art supplies, apparently. They say that they are just as good as Prismacolor pencils, and they are a third of the price. So that's very, very tempting. If you could get really intense color, I would be curious, because I know that this feels a little waxy and hard, which is kind of the sign of like a cheaper colored pencil. And the ones that they sell are supposed to be copies of the Prismacolor Soft Core. And that's the part, that's the lead part, so-called lead part, colored pencils. So supposedly the 70 color pencils, or the 70 set pencils are 30 bucks. So if you want to look into that, sounds like a good deal. Now I'm taking my yellow ochre and I'm going to put that right around the edge, because I see a little bit of a browny golden yellow right along the edge. And if you put that there, the apple's not going to look so flat. I know that it is a flat cut area, but it's going to have a depth of color that will make it a little bit more believable. Ooh, I feel like I should have put a little bit of yellow right here where this yellow, green, and yellow is. So I'm going to just put a layer of that yellow on here too. Okay. Where else can I put that yellow ochre? Right over here, right near the top of this little heart shape. Okay, because the apple looks very cute. It looks like a little heart shape on top. Put that there, right along the edges here. But it gets really, really skinny as it comes toward this area. Like that. And over here, I definitely see a lot more of that going on over here, because of the shadow that's cast by this slice over here. It's kind of above this little tip right here of the apple. So if you feel kind of like a little uncertain of what color, also, if you're having a hard time seeing the colors that things should be, try squinting your eyes and looking at your model. Okay. Amila and Sage's photograph just made me think about, poor Monet, the Impressionist painter, who had to kind of, you guys have such tools, such amazing tools at your disposal, how he had to drag his butt out of his house and go to the Cathedral of Chartres every day, and because he did several paintings of the cathedral at different times of the day. If he had that iPhone, maybe, just maybe, unless he was like die hard. I believe in en plein air painting. En plein air means in the open, like in the air, like out there, being out there for real. He would have maybe shot his picture with a cell phone and left. So I'm slowly kind of building up my color. I see a little bit intense, so I'm picking this richer yellow. It's not yellow ochre, and there are little veins of darker color in the apple. So I'm kind of drawing, kind of scribbling in those little veins on that apple. What are those? They could be bruised areas, or a lot of times they're areas where the sugar is concentrated. I see a shadow right here, and I feel like that shadow is going to have to be a little darker than what I have. So I'm going to grab the closest thing to a orangey brown and mix some of that in with right here to get that little shadow. Also, the seed is a dark brown, right? But I also see a red brown. So I first choose the lighter brown and apply the lighter brown onto it, and to see if that's red enough. And if it's not, then I'm going to go in with another kind of orangey brown color that I see. Ooh, that is orangey. And then add that to that. Layer that on. Okay? So you want to add, the rule is add the lighter colors first. This apple has a yellow blush to it. It's like a reverse blush. The rest of the apple is red, but it's got this yellow area of yellow-green streaks. So I'm going to just make sure I draw that in so I don't cover it up with red. I also see some lighter areas over here. So I'm just going to put in those little yellow areas to remind myself to reserve those areas and make them a lighter color. If your apple has a lot of yellow kind of undertones, what you could do also is to just put a light layer. My pencil strokes kind of go with the contour of the shape of the apple because it does make a difference. On this part right over here where I have my highlights, I'm going to put just a little bit of an under drawing here of the yellow. It's kind of a light medium. It's not the medium yellow here. It's like a lighter medium yellow. Okay, so I'm going to use the lighter of the two. So I put a little bit of yellow on there. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and start putting the color for the apple, I would choose I wouldn't go straight to the red orange. I would use an orange. Just be very, very cautious. That's what I'm saying. So what you should get out of this is that it's a real gradual process. There is some strategizing that you have to do, like laying down your lighter colors first, just so that you know where those color areas are, and also so that you have that undertone of that lighter color kind of showing through. If you just went ahead and threw your darker reds on there, and then try to put your lighter colors on there, it's not going to work in reverse. The lighter colors will not really show up the same way. You got to put them underneath the darker colors. It's weird how colored pencils work. Sometimes you can put a lighter color on top, but then it just looks so much duller than if you did it the proper way of layering on the color. Okay, over here I may not really use a lot of that orange. It's primarily here. So what I could put down there as the lightest color, maybe this orangey red as opposed to this kind of this orange here. Okay, this is this is the truest orange I have. So I would use the orangey red down here as my lightest color, and then layer, you know, burgundy on top of that. So I'm going to take the red orange, and I'm going to put that as the lightest shade on this part of my apple. This lower left hand side of my apple is the darker side of my apple. So where is the light coming from? The glare is right over here, right? The glare. So it's going to be coming from, like on top and slightly to the right. So the lamp was right over the still life, but it's more on the, you know, kind of toward the upper right hand side. So what we're going for this here is to make this piece of fruit or a vegetable. A vegetable would be nice too, as realistic as possible. And the way you do that is by layering on your color and putting many layers of color, and that does take time. The big still life that we're working toward, so you know, I'm expecting a lot. I am. I don't want, like, you know, kitty drawings or anything like that. Don't want to be insulting, but you know, I'm going to be like, if I see something like that, I'm going to be like, what is this? What is this? This is not what I taught you. So, you know, not going to dash off something at the last minute and turn that in. I really want you to use class time for real working on this. So I trust that you all will, because that time is being set aside to do it. Okay. So this is like a red orange, and I'm going to go in with that up here a little bit too. You'll notice that there's little dots. They're like little dots all over the apple. How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? I'm thinking, and it's very time consuming, is I'm going to add so many layers of color on this guy that I will take a sharp, pointy instrument. That is my experiment, and I want you to experiment too. It could be anything. It could be like a nail, like a sharp nail. I have this, and it's a clay tool, and I use this clay tool not for clay, but to remove the backs off of labels and stickers. And it comes with this little scrapey part too. So what I'm going to try is to use the curved scrapey part here and remove all those little dots at the end. So I will not know if that works until the end, basically. So that is going to be my experiment. And in this class, I want you to experiment. Sometimes you will fail and it's not going to work. And then I'm going to have to like do something else. You see how my lines, the direction of my lines, are kind of making this look three-dimensional too, so that the actual way you draw your lines do matter and have an effect, right? So I'm going to use my yellow orange here and put some yellow orange on this little colored part of the apple. And also there's yellow and green here. So let me just put the yellow and green here first. So I'm going to grab a yellow green and put some of that. Very lightly try some of that right on the edge here. I'm going to use the light orange or the regular orange and start to apply the next lightest color. Remember, work from light to dark. Don't jump ahead and just like throw down the dark colors. No.